Welcome to the Gunning Truth with Roni, and the Premier League fixtures are out this morning. After numerous amounts of leaks, there was actually one that was accurate about the hour before the fixtures were released, 10 o'clock South African time, and it's going to be an interesting start to the season. Arsenal have had a very favourable draw, in my opinion. Obviously, there's various ways of looking at it. I tend to look at it, how did we go about last season? Will our team improve for next season? And then we take it from there. So Arsenal start off on Saturday the 12th of August. That's the lunchtime kickoff against Nottingham Forest. That's the second game of the new season, because on the Friday night, finally, Arsenal are not given the Friday night game for the first time in the last 3 years, whereby Burnley, Vincent Kompany's Burnley, will be hosting Manchester City on the Friday evening game. Obviously, last season Arsenal played Crystal Palace, and Arsenal's second game of the season will be Crystal Palace. We will be playing them away from home. So at the Emirates Stadium, Nottingham Forest on Saturday the 12th, and then away to Crystal Palace on the 19th. And we end our August at home to Fulham. So home, away, and home. Forest first game of the season, Crystal Palace away second game of the season, and the third game at home to Fulham. If you look at the corresponding fixtures, Arsenal beat Nottingham Forest 5-0. Reece Nelson special in that game, 2 goals from him and an assist, I think it was. We beat Crystal Palace 2-0 away from home, opening day of the season, and we beat Fulham 2-1 after a Gabriel mistake, and then Gabriel scored the winner in a 2-1 win over Fulham. So a very good August for Arsenal, hopefully, if we have our players in that we really want, as well as our performance levels, of course. So 2 home games, very important to have home games in the first month. So 2 home games out of the 3, Crystal Palace away, and then September, you can look at it as 3 tricky games consecutively. So before the international break, we play Man United at home. Corresponding fixture, Nketiah 2 goals and Saka goal, where we beat Man United 3-2 in January earlier this year. So that's our home game. So already in the first 4 games, Arsenal had 4 wins in the corresponding fixtures last season. However, our first loss in terms of the fixtures that we've got coming in the run after the international break. So international break, then Arsenal go to Goodson Park the moment the international break has ended. I think there will very likely then be a Champions League game after that. So Arsenal are away to Everton after the international break, and then I'm assuming there will be the first Champions League game, and then we've got Tottenham at the Emirates Stadium. So Man United, Tottenham, both coming to the Emirates Stadium in September, as well as our first Champions League 2 match days should take place in September as well. So Man United, Everton, Tottenham, that's the run of games in September to start off with, and probably a very difficult Champions League game. And then we end the month off in September, Bournemouth away from home. So from the first 2 months, Arsenal would only have lost to Everton. So we basically beat Bournemouth away last season. We beat Tottenham and Man United at the Emirates Stadium last season, and we won our first 3 games, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, Fulham, last season as well. And then before the second international break, Arsenal host Manchester City. Very likely going to be Sunday the 8th. It says Saturday the 7th for now, but I'm assuming it will be that Sunday evening where we will host Manchester City. A very big game once again. It's obviously going to be a while before that takes place. There's so much things in the transfer window that's going to take place. So a long way before that game, but already I'm looking at that game as a key game. So we would then have faced Man United and Tottenham, as well as Man City. And in fact, after the international break, we got Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and I'm expecting Chelsea to be much better this season. And then obviously Champions League games, we are in pot 2. So that means that very likely you can get a difficult pot 3 team, but obviously under normal circumstances, only match day 3 you tend to play 1 versus 2. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it's going to work out. But according to me, either before or after Tottenham and Chelsea games, we have Champions League games. So that's going to be very interesting when you look at it like that. In terms of tough away games for Arsenal in the first half of the season, I obviously rate Everton as a tough game because we haven't won there. We lost there even in a good season last season. We lost there as well. Crystal Palace, always difficult away from home. Bournemouth, we did beat them last season comfortably. struggled at the Emirates Stadium. We remember that game. And then we've obviously got Chelsea away in October. We won there last season. And then Newcastle United away and Brentford away. Also very likely in and around Champions League games in November. And then December we've got Luton, Aston Villa and Liverpool. That's our away games in December. And we do know what tends to happen at Anfield, especially in December. We tend to get hidings when we go to Anfield. In terms of the second half of the season, we've got Liverpool at home, Chelsea at home, Man City away. So in March, Chelsea and Man City again directly after the other. Don't know where we will be when it comes to Champions League. A lot of people are thinking that we're going to be in the Europa League come next year. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can at least get to the quarterfinals. It will be tough, but we'll see how it goes. And then obviously we've got Tottenham away from home in April. I see Brighton away from home in April as well. When do we play Brighton at home? We play them on the 16th of another team that does well at the Emirates Stadium. We're playing them the 16th of December. And then, so Tottenham in April, and then we've got Man United, the second last game of the season at Old Trafford. Very interesting. Everton will be the last game of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen when it comes to the league. And then just to review the opening day of the season, once again, Friday the 11th of August, the Premier League is back, 9 o'clock at Turf Moor. Burnley host Man City. Obviously, Burnley have Vincent Kompany. They've got the former Man City captain, and then there's a South African striker that plays by the name of Lyle. I can't remember his surname. That plays for Burnley, so that's something interesting. Arsenal obviously starting off Saturday the 12th. We've got Bournemouth against West Ham, Brighton, Luton. So the newly promoted Luton, they are obviously upgrading their stadium, so very likely won't be playing at home in September. Everton, Fulham, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace. Sheffield United, newly promoted team to play at home. Obviously Burnley as well on the opening day of the season. And then Newcastle United host Aston Villa at St James's Park to end off that Saturday. The Sunday afternoon games, Brentford hosts Spurs in London. And Chelsea, Liverpool. So already a big game on the first game of the season at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea obviously would want to be much better. That's Poch's first game. Also, first official game for Poch against Klopp. Chelsea, Liverpool. And then on the Monday evening, Man United host Wolves. They end off this first week in the league. So it's very difficult to do predictions. I don't do predictions until about after the window, the transfer window is done, so September, around about there. Then you also have a kind of a good idea of how the things are going. Last season I looked at the fixtures and I said that Arsenal need to win 5 out of their first 6 games. That's exactly what they did. They lost to Man United at Old Trafford. I think that was the 6th game, and then they beat Brentford away the 7th game. I think that's how it went last season. I also said Arsenal would finish second in one of my earlier podcasts of last season, and I'm really hoping that Arsenal push Manchester City all the way, and I really hope that we can win the league this upcoming season. I've got a very nice draw. First 8 games, we've got Man City obviously at home. We've got Man United at home, Tottenham at home. So let's get those games. Those games needs to be 9 points. Obviously, Arsenal had a fantastic start to the first half of last season and still fell away. And Man City ended up still winning comfortably the league. So you don't know what you need to do. Do you need to start well? Do you need to just try to get 92 points and try to win the league? Try to get the league off Man City. But Arsenal need to continue that consistency. We need to bring in the players. We are heavily linked with Rice and Caicedo and Kai Havertz, which is a bit of a strange one, but Arsenal need to get the business done. The window is open. It opened yesterday officially. There has been big deals done. Bellingham from Dortmund to Real Madrid, McAllister from Brighton to Liverpool. Liverpool have released certain players. Milner's gone to Brighton. Not much other business has taken place so far, other than the Declan Rice deal from West Ham to Arsenal for around about £100 million. Hopefully will be completed soon. Sometimes these deals can take time, but that is the Premier League fixtures for August 23-24 season. Come on, you Gunners.